Hello, everybody. Welcome to Second Banana Media. We've got a great show for you today. I want to thank our sponsor, Mosquito Authority. You can reach Mosquito Authority at bugsbite.com, or you can reach us by phone by calling Sarah or Ronnie at 580-380-3943 or 580-380-3460. That's Mosquito Authority. Take care of all of your mosquitoes, ticks, and flies. Take care of you all the way. All right. So first of all, we got our special guest here today. We got cousin Nathan Evans here. So we're going to be talking a little bit of softball, specifically Oklahoma softball, right? As they win the
Absolutely.
national championship, they had just won their sixth national championship. It's been quite a dynasty, Nathan. I mean, like I said, six national championship since the 2000, right? With Lisa Carey started it all off back in 2000.
Absolutely.
And this team was pretty special, weren't they?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. This team probably ranks up there, if not the greatest NCAA softball team that's ever played. I mean, if you look at just stats alone, they're number one. You know, they led the country in ERA, shutouts, and then you go to the offense end of it, and it's any category you want to look at, OU is at the top.
Yeah,
It's
their first four
by
bat.
far one of. Go ahead.
So sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's by far top to bottom, 1 through 9 hole. You can't miss on them. It just you try to walk one, you're gonna get stung by another one. So
Right, and like I was just about to say, is the first five hitters, their first five hitters all batted over 400. So pick your
exactly.
poison. Pick your poison, as you just kind of said right there. So, and the good thing, I mean, we'll talk about softball in general. We won't just talk about OU softball, but we'll talk about a little bit more about a little bit of everything. But big series win against the University of Texas. OU's most hated rival, right? And they come in.
Absolutely.
Texas beat them in the third game of their series early in the season, and OU didn't take too kindly to that, and they got a rematch. One time in bracket play, and they met him in the finals. Talk about that series with us.
Well, if we talk about the regular season, for the first 2 games, though, you pretty much, took care of business, no doubt. But that third game with them coming in and getting that victory over OU, something that a lot of people was not expecting to see. And even the Texas players probably wasn't expecting that to happen either, just by the way they celebrated after that
Right.
game. You could tell that OU took that personally, and they kept
Mm-hmm.
that. When there's only 3 teams in the country to beat you, you got to remember those. So they definitely kept that on there when they made it to the World Series to play this year. The
Yeah.
first round of the bracket play, they took care of business like nobody. I mean, it was inevitable that OU was going to win. But when it got into the championship series, the first round, you could tell that Texas showed their inexperience big time on there. None of those girls, actually nobody from the University of Texas has ever made it to the World Series championship in softball.
Mm-hmm.
So that inexperience definitely showed on that first game. And with OU's, everybody on that team has practically played in the World Series and won a championship the
Right.
year before. It was just another day for them. But when it came to the second game, Texas jumped on them quick.
Yep.
And Hope Tropline did not look great, or I apologize. Jordy did not look great. You could tell that that freshman inexperience was there, and her not being 100% showed as well. But it made for a great second game after that, though.
Yeah, I think the injury definitely had a little bit to do with it, not being on the mound over the past 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it was. So you could tell she was rusty. She was missing over the plate quite a bit. But I found
Mm-hmm.
it interesting. The first time Texas beat Oklahoma in the regular season, the way they celebrated, they're crying tears of joy, which what kind of tells you the kind of program Patty Gassel's built at University of Oklahoma. When your most hated rival cries and they celebrate so hard when they actually beat you. So that just kind of tells you the program that she's built there. And again,
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma, when they got to that championship series, they took care of business like they should. And I was watching left fielder for University of Texas. Her last name's Burke. She's kind of a TikTok
Mm-hmm.
famous star, as you
Burke.
know. Yep, Burke, and she made a TikTok saying, call me naive, but there's no pressure on us. There's no pressure. We don't have no pressure on us. We're playing with house money per se, and she's absolutely right. But
100% right.
it didn't work. I mean, OU came to play, and they took care of business which it was no surprise to anybody really watching the World Series. OU was the favorite from the
Absolutely.
beginning of the season to the end of the season, so it wasn't a surprise that Oklahoma did win that game. So my question to you is, what was the biggest surprise in the College World Series this year?
It has to be Texas, no doubt about it. Coming in from the regionals when they should not have even made it out of, Fayetteville to take down the number 4 team in the country who was hot at the time. I mean, Arkansas was killing the ball, great pitching, and then for them to come out of nowhere to win that regional and then advance on to the World Series, it was just they were to me, besides OU, they were the storyline. The underdog coming through and to advance that far into the championship round. That's kudos to Texas. They played like every team in the country should be playing.
Right. So I was leaning towards Texas making to the championship series, which was huge because they're unranked.
Mm-hmm.
Or was the biggest surprise Oklahoma State not making it to the championship series? They're by far and away the best team on that side, And then
Absolutely.
they had the major inning where they gave up the base hit to right field, and then she boots it in right field. They throw it to the cutoff. The cutoff tries to back pick at second. It goes to the fence. Next thing you know, you're down 6-5. To me, I thought Oklahoma State not making to the champ series was the biggest surprise for me.
That was I could honestly say that's definitely up there with it. By far, OSU was the number 2 team in the World Series this year.
Yeah,
Especially with Florida State getting knocked off in the regional rounds, it they should have cruised on through to the championship series against OU. But that's the one of the great things about this sport, and baseball is the same way too. You just whoever has that hot bat or the hot glove can make a huge difference in advance on, and Texas definitely did that.
yeah,
They had the
and
bats rolling.
yeah. You kind of talked about baseball there. We're not to get off subject, but baseball there. You had Oklahoma advance, and you had Notre Dame beat Tennessee, the number 1 team in the nation in college baseball. It makes it to the World Series. So yeah, it depends when you get hot. When you get hot, it's hard to beat those kind of teams. But
Absolutely.
but to kind of move on here, so how has the game changed, Nathan? You've been watching this game for quite 10 plus years because you're
Oh
our
yeah,
guru. You're our softball guru here at Second Banana.
yeah.
So how much has this game changed in the past 20, 30 years?
Oh, it's changed dramatically. I mean, the World Series just on itself, when I first started going back in like 2004, 2005, you can go buy a ticket for $5, $10 and you
Yeah.
could practically sit anywhere you wanted to in the bleachers. You could, and at that time, you could go and see the players and talk to them like down at the dugout, or not the dugout, apologize, by the bullpen, and just
Hmm.
have conversations with them. I remember a couple times of talking with the UCLA Bruins team,
Yeah.
Tennessee teams, but now the game has grown so much that those girls are pretty much like rock stars. They come in, they have security. You can't get to them. I mean, it's amazing how much it's grown, and just the stadium itself has grown. I mean, when you go, they had the grass that you can go sit on and watch the game out there, and they had the bleachers. And
Hmm.
the kudos to Oklahoma City for seeing that and investing into the game, and they're definitely getting their money back on it for sure. Because each time you look at they posted on the scoreboard, it's a new record for attendance.
Right.
And then same thing with viewership. ESPN is noticing that too from last year when they had it playing and they saw, wow, they're playing 1 million plus viewers are watching this. And
Yeah.
it's just going to slowly, and it's like this year they posted the games over on ABC. It's a primetime network for everybody in the country
Right.
can watch it. You don't have to have a cable or satellite prescription to watch it. So that's just showing you how much this game has grown, and it's well worth it because the entertainment factor is there. Because you can go to a ball game for 2-3 hours and you'll be entertained practically the entire time.
Right. And I think you hit the nail in the coffin there when you talked about good job to Oklahoma City because they literally invested money into that stadium to get the upper deck there
Mm-hmm.
and the bridge to walk across the concrete path that you can walk from over Remington Park. So they've spent a lot of money into women's softball because that's really the only thing they do at Hall of Fame Stadium. Am I correct on that? Is
Well, they
is
have
is, is softball
Yeah, it's softball. Yeah, they have the
correct?
museum, and it's just softball. They have a lot of the high school and younger teams will have tournaments they'll play there, and then they have the USA softball organization itself plays there, and then along with some of the men's USA softball games they have there as well. But growing up, you didn't hardly see anything on it. When I first started watching it, I just came across it on TV, and it was happened to be in 2000 when OU won the national championship. Then, because I just saw was like, oh, OU's playing on TV. That's cool. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, it's in Oklahoma City. I never
Yeah.
even heard anything about it. But now, just you see it everywhere. You go on Twitter, Facebook, any type of social media platform, and it's trending all over. And it's great for the game. And it just means it's going to continue to grow.
Right. And when the MLB had the lockout earlier in the year, I thought they did a good job showing some of this stuff, but I think they also missed opportunities to showcase the girls and in college baseball even more. I think they could have added a few more games on ESPN,
Absolutely.
ESPN Plus, ESPNU. I think they missed a little bit of an opportunity on that, but overall, they still got it out there, and I think it was a good job for the game for sure this year
No,
in softball.
you're 100% correct. They should have, and early in the season, to get those games out there more broadcast. But I think they realized that once regional play started going, every game you could pretty watch on ESPN Plus, which, for them, they're going to use that as a way to, get people to get their subscriptions to it,
Right.
which, that's a business aspect of it. But at the same time, you're going to get great games out of that.
So we kind of just talked about how the game has changed over the past 20, 30 years. What's the future of softball? I mean, what does college softball have in store for us for the next 10, 15 years?
I think you're going to get like what you've seen this year. You're just going to see more and more fans coming to it. Because if you think about it, you have a 2 to 3 hour window. Attention span for a lot of people to sit down and watch, even baseball on TV. It's like, oh, that's a 4 or 5 hour game. With this, the entertainment factor is there because it's such a fast paced game. With such a short pitching mound, the base is shorter. You got to be quick with the ball. You got to be able to move, run, jump on it as quick as you can because and also I think the energy that these girls bring to the game as well is great. When you see a girl get a double, you see them pop up and just pump their fists or throw dirt or just just the excitement's there. And I think a lot of people are finally realizing that women's sports is not not like it used to be in the past. It's a science and it's growing, and you see that with youth leagues now and just tournaments all across the country.
Yep.
I mean, all these different travel teams everywhere, and these people are seeing it and they're realizing it's it's from a business perspective, there's a lot of money to be making it in.
Right. I think you're right. It is growing. I think it's going to get nothing but bigger. But like you said, the tournaments, the little league tournaments, the travel teams, they're all out there. Even more, just like in baseball, travel baseball has expanded, and softball is getting the same way. Like I said, the entertainment value is there.
Mhm.
It's these girls got to make split decision decisions because, like you said, the bases are shorter. The field is shorter. So I mean, but
Well,
it's go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, they're ESPN is starting to promote the professional women's league as well. Since the World Series is over and they saw the ratings of it, it's great. 1 million plus views every week from it, and so now they have the Athletic Unlimited, where all these college players who's moved on and other divisions are leagues of professional women's softball is broadcasting out, and you can see it on ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPN Plus. They see that product's out there, and all the stars from the past, the Monica Abbotts, the Kat Ostermans, Jocelyn Allo will be in one of those divisions as well. Jenny Finch, yep, absolutely. And those players from the past, they're eventually, they're going to retire on. Like Kat Osterman retired last year from playing professional, and you got all these other girls who, with social media that all these people know who they are. And so they want to continue to follow them because I like Jocelyn Allo, what she did for the game to even raise it even higher is amazing. And people see that and they're going to want to watch her as her professional career goes forward. And they're going to see that broadcasting out there. It's just a matter of people wanting to invest the time and the money and the effort to watch these girls play because they're putting on a great product.
Right. And I think when we look back in 10, 15 years from now, we'll think about Jocelyn Allo and what she's done to the game because she will be the stepping stone with the NIL going on now. She'll be the main person that they look back and said, okay, she's the one who started it now because she's the one who people. You see all those shirts out there. You go to Dick's here
Mhm.
in Oklahoma City, you've seen all those shirts, and it's nice to see that these women, these girls in college, are finally making a little bit of money because there's not like there is something after softball, college softball, but there's not a whole lot yet. So
No.
it's good to see. It's good to see that Allo will lead the path for the girls that are playing little league right now in the
Mhm.
future to possibly make some decent amount of money while they're in college.
I think you hit it right on the nail on the head, is the fact that they can go and buy those shirts, buy those jerseys, and be able to wear those like a professional football or baseball or basketball player has out there right now. They see
Right.
that, and those girls, like you said, those are their idols. They
Hmm.
want to, represent them and those players, and they can go to Dick's Sporting Goods and so on and so forth and get those. Especially now, we can go online and buy all that merchandise as well. That it's just going to help grow that even more. And like you said, you see it, Jocelyn Alo jerseys and shirts everywhere. And now they're starting to get the Jordy Balls, the Jada Colemans, Tiari
Yep.
Jennings. And that's just with OU. There's some,
Right.
other programs like Alabama, Montana Fouts. Her NIL deals are probably going to be just up there with Jocelyn's, because
Wow. Nice.
just big name people, they're going to track those businesses. Because if I heard correctly, that Jocelyn and Jada both signed a NIL deal with Outback Steakhouse.
Oh,
So I
nice.
thought, right? So I mean, that's a major corporation picking them, and not
Yeah.
just t-shirt companies or local businesses. I mean, there's the corporate world is really going after them as well, and
That's
it's
that's
great
that's
for them.
yeah. That's awesome to see. That's really good for women's sports for sure. Women's college sports, especially because other than basketball, you don't really hear a whole lot of women's sports out there.
Hmm.
Um, but we kind of talked about the old, we talked about the future. So take your OU hat off real fast and give me your opinion. All right. So you got the '92 UCLA team, 54-2 that season. Sooners lost 3 games this year, but they won 59 games. Right.
Hmm.
Those two teams play today. Who wins that game?
Oh, it's OU hands down. And not that it won't be a close game, but the game has developed and changed so much from back when it was then to now, that all the science and batting and pitching has dramatically changed, where the use of science and computers, and to be able to locate and where a pitcher is and where their locations are, what their best stuff is. Back then, it was just run and gun type situation. Now it's such a science to it that these girls would dominate them. It
Yeah,
wouldn't even be close.
yeah. So, and I agree with you on that. I agree with that 100%. The travel ball, the competition now, I think is a lot better than what it was back in 1992. And matter of
Hmm.
fact, I don't think it'd be a close game. I think if you take Oklahoma team this year, put them in back in 1992, they'll go 56-0. They won't lose a game. And if you take that '92 UCLA team, which is a really good team, they had the goat on there, Lisa Fernandez.
Hmm.
If you move that team to 2022, I think they lose 6 or 8 games. I
You're
think
probably right.
I think the game has expanded that much more to where the competition is a lot better. Do you agree with that or not? Or
Oh,
might just way out of line here.
no, you're 100% correct on that. I mean, I think they would probably be able to hold their own just because of how talented that team was then.
Hmm.
But with the way the game is now, it'd be no contest for OU to dominate them. I mean, you have a lineup where 1 through 9, just killing it, and you have 6 batters on OU's team that has 13 plus home runs.
Yeah.
You know, 3 of them in the top 10 of home runs. Uh, I, Jocelyn Allo is number 2 in batting average, batting 517, which is crazy.
How's
I
that?
mean,
Is that
it would be no
number
problem.
two overall? Number two overall, or number two this season?
This season, her batting average.
Who batted
Yeah.
higher than 515?
Girl from Wichita State. I can't remember what her exact name is. She was awesome. She had
Wow.
like a 522 batting average,
Oh
and
wow.
she had 32 home runs or 33 home runs.
Yeah, I know. Jocelyn passed her in the World Series
Uh,
most home runs this season, but they're keeping an eye on that one. Patty Gasso might snatch her up if she decides to go in the portal.
there could be a possibility for that. You never know.
Yeah,
Because
never
I
do.
mean, Wichita State's a great program. They definitely made some moves going forward, and they gave OU trouble last year in the regional rounds. But yeah, you never know.
Yeah, and I think this Oklahoma team was the best team that we have ever seen in college softball.
Absolutely, especially with the pressure they had on them. The last year's World Series was really good because the unknown was there. It was like, are these inexperienced freshmen going to be able to handle the pressure of the World Series? Are they
Hmm.
going to be able to go and win this title? And they were able to. And then to turn around and come back to this year and be able to say, can you hold up that number one spot still and win another championship with all that pressure on you? Because, back in 92, the only person people really heard about you are those diehard softball fans and the people that were in that local area. So if you're
Right,
in Southern Cal, you would hear about UCLA softball. But
right,
if you're living in Michigan, unless you're part of that Michigan softball program, you're really not hearing anything about it. Now you have
right.
Twitter, Facebook. I mean, all platforms out there that hears everything about OU and OSU and Florida State, all those programs. So that pressure was on them to see the repeat, and for them, to go from line to line, number one to number one, it was pretty tremendous.
It definitely was tremendous. So they won last year, they won this year. We'll have to see if they win it next year, but we'll leave it right there for tonight. And again, appreciate you, Nathan, for coming on. It's a great
Absolutely.
discussion. It's a great thing, and it's a good thing for college softball in general that the
Mhm.
sport is growing. So, for Nathan Evans, and I'm Ronnie Phillips. We'll talk to you guys later.